Hello, and this is the final part of Detour coming up. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Tom Neal. Tom Neal had appeared in other B movies before he appeared in this one, but in this one, this is the one that I guess he's really known for. And he and Ann Savage went on to make 5 more movies, I believe. Yes, 5 movies, actually, total, together. And it's kind of a sad thing about Tom Neal. He apparently had a penchant or tendency toward violence, and it got him in trouble a lot. Ended a couple of marriages, and he ended up actually leaving acting and wound up being convicted of involuntary manslaughter after a situation involving a gun and obvious violence. He was sentenced to 1 to 15 years in prison and served 6. But he eventually became a gardener, and I think that's rather sad. But if you look on Wikipedia, you'll see he had quite the amateur boxing record, for what that's worth. And, well, he's a very interesting character, but as a person, to me. In any case, I hope you'll enjoy the end of Detour.
What can I do for you?
We're interested in selling a car.
If the price is right. Well, if it's in good mechanical condition, it should blue book for about $1,600. Tony, take a look at this motor.
1,600. Are you kidding?
Well, maybe $1,850.
Before I let it go for $1,850, I'll wreck it and collect the insurance first.
Lady, this motor's seen a lot of driving.
Well, the mechanic inspected the car. We haggled. At last, when we were all worn out, we hit a compromise. His price.
Okay, it's a deal. All right, come in, we'll sign the papers.
I have the ownership papers right here with me. Look, Vera, in the meantime, will you clean a dash compartment? There may be some stuff in it.
All right, darling. $1,850. That dirty crook.
In New York, huh?
Yeah.
But you bought the car in Miami?
Yeah.
Well, now let's see about the insurance. We can either have it transferred or canceled. What kind of insurance do you have, Mr. Haskell?
Well, aren't all the papers there?
I don't see any. Surely you know what type of insurance you carry in the car. The name of the company?
Yeah, but,
Well, if you'll just tell me the name of the company, I'd be very glad to take care of all the details.
well,
Did you sign the papers yet?
Not yet.
Well, don't. We're not selling the car.
Well, wait a minute, Miss Haskell.
Come on, darling.
What's the matter? Change your mind?
Yes, I'm sorry. I guess I have.
But Vera...
Let's go.
You got me out of a tight spot, Vera. But I still don't understand all this.
You will in a minute. I almost threw away a gold mine.
1850 isn't to be sneezed at. The car doesn't book for as much as I thought.
We're not selling the car.
You want to keep it. Now, wait a minute, Vera. You said yourself I wouldn't be safe until the car was in someone else's name. I'd like to be free of this mess when I go.
That's just it, Roberts. You're not going. There's a drive-in at the next corner. Pull in there and we'll get a bite to eat. And I'll explain.
What is this, another one of your brilliant ideas?
Oh, can I take your order?
Make mine a ham sandwich and coffee.
And for you, sir?
Oh, I don't care. The same.
Thank you.
Get this, Vera. I've been pretty patient so far. I've done everything you asked me to do, but no more.
Shut up.
You've taken Haskell's money. And you can have the dough we get from selling the car. But you're not going to keep me a prisoner.
It's a good thing I bought the paper. Take a look at that.
Vera, I'm in no mood.
Read that.
No.
Yes.
No, I won't do it.
Yes, you will.
You think I'm crazy? It's impossible, I tell you.
Excuse me. Blow the horn when you're through.
No one could possibly get away with an act like that. It'd be wise to me in a minute.
Don't be yellow. You look enough like him. The same coloring and the same build. See how his clothes fit you? No kidding, you almost had me fooled for a while.
Oh, grow up, Vera. Don't you think a father knows his own son? And there must be other relatives.
The father won't have to know you. We'll wait till he gives up the ghost. He's an old geezer and he won't pull through. And as far as other relatives are concerned, they haven't seen you in 15 or 20 years. Eat.
I'm not hungry. And I won't do it.
It's not as tough as it sounds. Remember, you've got all kinds of identification. His car, letters, license.
I could never get away with it. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The old boy has scads of dough. Look in the paper there. Personal fortune assessed at over 15 million. He'll leave plenty, I tell you.
Maybe he cut off his son. How do we know? It's out, Vera. I won't have anything to do with it.
I think you will.
Look, Vera, I'll do anything within reason. But not that. So forget it. Find yourself another stooge.
You sap. You'll be fixed for the rest of your life as Charlie Haskell. You can take your inheritance and go away. No more worrying about the rent, no sweating, scheming, wondering where your next meal's coming from. Think about that, Roberts.
Vera, please, you're talking too loud.
On this, I'm splitting 50-50 with you. Sure, why not? We're both alike, both born in the same gutter.
Now, take it easy, Vera. There's people around here. You don't know what you're talking about.
We'll wait till we read that old man Haskell's dead. And you show up. Like you read in New York that he was sick.
No. Suppose he doesn't die.
He will. I know he will. Something tells me.
But as much as I insisted I would have no part of her scheme, Vera was taking it for granted I would. Neither of us had our mind on the cards as we played that night. I knew we were just trying to kill time between newspaper editions. This was a death watch for Vera. Maybe it was for me, too. Don't you realize if I'm caught, they'll want to know where I got the car and stuff, and they'll have me on a murder charge.
If you're smart, you won't get caught. I knock for 7.
And if I'm caught, don't you realize you'll be out, too?
18 points. That gives me 30. How will I be out?
You'll be out $1,850 we would have gotten on the car. Really, Vera, you'd be an awful chump if you threw away all that dough on a dizzy long shot. Let me sell the bus tomorrow. With the money it'll bring and what you've already got, a clever kid like you can run it up in no time. Then we'd both be in the clear.
I'll be in the clear anyway.
Maybe. Maybe. But if I got caught, I'd get good and sore at you, you know.
You mean you'd squeal?
Well, no, not squeal exactly.
Never mind what you meant. Even if you did tell the cops I was in on it with you, what could they do to me? They might give me the same medicine they gave you.
Yeah.
A rope. But I'm on my way now. All they'll be doing will be rushing it.
All right. But think of the 1850 you'd lose. You'd kick yourself along the block if they let it get away from you.
I'll take the chance. Want another drink?
You're being a goon. That's the way people wind up behind the 8 ball. Once they get a few dollars, they become greedy and want more.
My.
Caesar.
Who?
You know that Roman general? He got his for being greedy. He wasn't satisfied, so the final wind-up was he took the count. A couple of days ago, you didn't have a dime. Why, you were so broke you couldn't pay cash for a postage stamp. Now you've got almost $700 with $18.50 in the offing. Take my advice. Don't try for more.
I'm tired of this game. Let's have some blackjack.
Play solitaire.
Okay, I will if that's the way you feel about it.
That's the way I feel about it.
Getting sore and throwing things won't help much, Roberts. I'm really doing you a favor. I help you out of a jam by keeping my mouth shut. I show you how to make some soft money. And what thanks do I get?
Thanks.
Sure. Or would you rather call the cops and told them you killed the man and stole his money?
I didn't kill anybody.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. You know I didn't.
All right, then. Suppose I call the cops. If you're innocent, what do you got to be scared of?
Okay. Call them, you mutt. Go ahead and call them. See if I care. At least they'll give me a square deal.
You want me to call them?
You heard me. But I'm warning you. If I'm pinched, I'll swear you were in on it. I'll say that you helped me. If I fry, I'll get even with you.
You wouldn't dare. You chicken.
Yeah? Then try it and see. Call them. Yeah.
Okay, I will. Information? I want the number of the Hollywood police station. Okay, I got it. Thanks.
Wait a minute, Vera. You wouldn't do that.
Well, wouldn't that, and I'll show you if I would.
Take it easy now. Let's talk this over. This was early in the evening, and the conversation, while hectic, was at least pitched low. But as the minutes passed, and more obstacles to her plan popped into my head, the air got blue. Each word coming from our lips cracked like a whip. I reminded her that as Charles Haskell, I didn't even know my mother's name, where I'd gone to school, the name of my best friend, whether I had an Aunt Emma or not, my religion, and if I'd ever owned a dog. I didn't even know what my middle initial stood for. I also pointed out that the real Haskell had a scar on his forearm.
His people never saw that scar. He told me he ran away right after putting out the kid's eye.
Yeah, but his father knew he was cut. It'd have to be some kind of a mark.
So what? The old man's dead, or will be. I hope by tomorrow morning's papers. Anyway, you could cut yourself a little, couldn't you? Boy, for that kind of dough, I'd let you cut my leg off.
You're drunk and you're crazy mad, Vera. Turn me in if you want to, but I won't get mixed up in this. Besides, how do we know? Haskell was such a phony. Maybe it wasn't the man's son at all. Maybe he just dreamed it up.
Well, dream it or not, you won't be dreaming when the law taps you on the shoulder. There's a cute little gas chamber waiting for you, Roberts. And I hear extradition to Arizona's a cinch. Where's that phone?
Vera!
Leave me alone.
Vera!
Here. I want a phone. Call police. I hate you, yellow stinker. You leave me alone.
I'll let you alone when you promise to leave the phone where it is. You're drunk. You don't know what you're doing.
You're hurting me.
Will you promise?
All right. You hurt me.
I'm sorry, but
And it's hot in here. Open up the window.
it's not hot.
Don't tell me. Now, do you do it or do I do it? You're no gentleman, see?
Yeah. All right. I'll open up the window. Vera! Vera, open the door. Please open the door. Vera, open the door. Don't use the phone. Listen to me.
I don't like you, Roberts. You're no gentleman, see? You hurt my hand, and I'm going to get even with you.
If you don't open the door, I'm going to kick it down, Vera. Vera, don't call the cops. Listen to me. I'll do anything you say. Vera, let me in. I'll break the phone. The world is full of skeptics. I know. I'm one myself. In the Haskell business, how many of you would believe he fell out of the car? And now, after killing Vera without really meaning to do it, how many of you would believe it wasn't premeditated? In a jury room, every last man of you would go down shouting that she had me over a barrel and my only out was force. The room was still. So quiet that for a while I wondered if I had suddenly gone deaf. It was pure fear, of course. And I was hysterical. But without making a sound. Vera was dead. And I was her murderer. Murderer. What an awful word that is. But I'd become one. I'd better not get caught. What evidence there was around the place had to be destroyed. And from the looks of things, there was plenty. Looking around the room at things we'd bought was like looking into the faces of 100 people who'd seen us together and who remembered me. This was the kind of testimony I couldn't rub out. No. I could burn clothes and hide bottles for the next 5 years. There'd always be witnesses. The landlady, for one. She could identify me. The car dealer, the waitress in the drive-in, the girl in the dress shop, and that guy in the liquor store. They could all identify me. I was cooked. Done for. I had to get out of there. While once I'd remained beside a dead body, planning carefully how to avoid being accused of killing him, this time I couldn't. This time I was guilty. I knew it. Felt it. I was like a guy suffering from shock. Things were whirling around in my head. I couldn't make myself think right. All I could think of was the guy with the saxophone and what he was playing. It wasn't a love song anymore. It was a dirge. My problems weren't solved. I had to stay away from New York for all time because Al Roberts was listed as dead and had to stay dead. And I could never go back to Hollywood. Someone might recognize me as Haskell. Then, too, there was Sue. I could never go to her with a thing like this hanging over my head. All I could do was pray she'd be happy. I was in Bakersfield before I read that Vera's body was discovered, and that the police were looking for Haskell in connection with his wife's murder. Isn't that a laugh? Haskell got me into this mess, and Haskell was getting me out of it. The police were searching for a dead man. I keep trying to forget what happened, and wonder what my life might have been if that car of Haskell's hadn't stopped. But one thing I don't have to wonder about. I know. Someday a car will stop to pick me up that I never thumbed. Yes. Fate, or some mysterious force, can put the finger on you or me for no good reason at all.